the retired general. And in fact, our relationship has gone beyond official to personal. I just want to add to what distinguished Senator Ahmed Lawan said, and to also urge our colleagues to give this gentleman the optimum support. And this support is in the field of appropriation. And not only that, it is also important not only to appropriate, but to make sure the funds are provided as at when needed. We have been advocating, Mr. Senate President, and this Senate should do that, that the budget of the armed forces and indeed other important security agencies should be on the first line charge, and it should be released to them as at when due. This is not what is happening now. And as the former Senate President said, Hanum, I will repeat it now that you all know, Hanum Banza Okauta. And it is time for me now, sir, to commend Mr. President for not only appointing Janar Christopher as the Minister of Defense after retirement as CDS, but also declaring this issue of insecurity as an emergency. And also just day before yesterday or so, the Senate passed a resolution advising Mr. President to rejig the security architecture. That is being done. Now what is remaining is to give the military and other security agencies what they need to walk the talk. Now back to the question. I'm constrained by what you said, that some of these questions should be asked in executive session. But fortunately, what I discussed, or my question to the minister now, is something that I discussed with him. Now that you have the chance to ask, because he told me that generals don't complain. If he had so, which is not what I'll discuss, if you give him 6 months, if he doesn't get it done, he will drop the uniform. That time he was in uniform. Now you are a civilian. Now you can complain because you are no longer in uniform. As at the time, which is the tradition of the army, generals don't complain. So my question to you, my big friend, is will you ask for those things from your appointee, that is the CNC, and here you are before the Senate that promised to give you that support. So if you ask that question or you demand for that thing, I want to believe that the Senate will support you to get it. And that will mean that this issue of insecurity will be something that will be a history when we are still senators. Thank you.
Thank you. General, no, you don't need to answer. I hope you are writing it down. Let me invite Senator Wadada to also ask questions. Please just restrict yourself to 1 minute. But in the meantime, Senator Wadada, accompanying the Chief of Defense Staff Emeritus and Minister of Defense nominee is Honorable Ajaraton Kulubali, Second Deputy Speaker of ECOWAS, and Honorable Bile Tunkara, the Fourth Deputy Speaker of ECOWAS. They are in the Parliament to observe the screening And just on behalf of the Senate, I welcome you. And I thank you for coming, and I wish you journey mercies when you are departing. Hein? Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, sitting as chair. I remain Senator Ahmed Wadada Aliyu, Sarkin Yakin Kefi, Magajin Dangin Lafia, and I represent Nasarawa West Senatorial District of Nasarawa State. I still remain horse rider, yes. Mr. President, sitting as chair, distinguished colleagues, Mr. Nominee, at this point, mine wouldn't be question. It will be commendation, congratulations, and some level of caution to the nominee. Commendation to say that truly by your nomination is a confirmation that the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, truly has the eagle eye to have nominated you to be Minister of Defense. And I congratulate you. Having congratulated you, why mine will not be a question, all the questions that I should have, but is to say to you, based on where you're coming from, the commendations and accolades that you've gotten from my colleagues, is to say to you,
assure the people that the insecurity level in North Central State is solvable.
Thank you. That's not your seat. On his seat. Yes, Senator Kawuden, Senator Fadaunsi, Senator Musa. Then we go to the other side too.
He called me. He called me.
But you know, Father should talk first. Don't you know that? He's not your mate.
He's not my mate.
Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, who are you? My name is Senator Yadda Majalisa, representing the good people of Osun East. Today, I'm very happy that Mr. President showed to the whole world that he's a listening father. We highlighted this, there is a fault in his security architecture, and immediately changed the narrative, which the whole country now is happy that Janar Musa, who has done well in his military career, has been appointed has been nominated as the Minister of Defense. And you will see that when a retired general is nominated or appointed as a defense minister, there's a language that they speak down. The whole country now has the hope that things will turn around by his involvement. He has gone around all the waters and he has done well. But my question now, which was partially answered, I've been asking them, can we really win this war? He said it's winnable. That by the grace of God, we will win. Our own is to cooperate with you, cooperate with the 001, that's our president, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, that he has been doing well for you. It is now your own place to take care of the young ones. That's the downtrodden army. That is the problem. If you encourage them and their packages are okay, they will go headlong to win the war. I'm very sure you will do that. And with the prayer warrior you have at home too, all of us will continue to pray for you. Today, Nigerians should go and learn how to sleep and pray for you that you will succeed. Thank you very much, sir.
And General, that was the prayer of a father, the distinguished Senator Father Honsi. When you said that the war is winnable, we believe that if God can assist the war to win the war against COVID, that we can win the war against insecurity, and we shall win the war against insecurity. So we don't want to talk about the collaborators. We don't want to talk about the conspiracies. We don't want to talk about the enemies of Nigeria and the enemies of government. We don't want to look at them. We just want to look at winning the war. We must win this war for us to bequeath a better country to future generations. Senator Kawu.
Thank you, Mr. President. My dear distinguished and honorable colleagues, I am Suleiman Abrahaman Kawu Smaila, representing Kano South Senatorial District. Mr. President, my dear distinguished colleagues, Mr. Nominee, I don't want to repeat myself on commending Mr. President of appointing a competent hand to manage this very important ministry in this current situation, and his capacity to handle the situation, because he demonstrated it, and we can testify when he was in the office. We are in constant touch with him when we start experiencing this kind of challenges in part of Kano State in my senatorial district. We are always liaising with him, and he do his own best to make sure that we contain the challenges. And by the grace of God, now I can say Kano South senatorial district little bit is safe, inshallah. Mr. President, I want nominee to give a highlight, because he just left office as our Chief of Defense Staff when U.S. Congress, and of course, the President of the United States of America, President Trump, perceiving or accusing Nigeria that there is a genocide or religious intolerance, or they perceive that the government or the security agencies are doing or protecting some people against some sect in this country. Of course, even today, they are holding a roundtable discussion on the Nigerian situation of genocide or religious intolerance. And we are very lucky, when he was a Chief of Defense Staff, he is a Christian, very good friend to us, very often sincere and transparent personality. His remark today in the parliament can justify or can tell the world and can revive the image of Nigeria, what Nigeria are doing, what our security agencies are doing, what Mr. President is doing, and his own team, and of course our parliament are doing to keep or to make Nigeria one, irrespective of our diversity. His remark means a lot in this very critical situation, Mr. President.
Thank you. Distinguished Senator Abdullahi Yahya. Distinguished Senator Ojus Okalo.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Oji Ozokalo. I represent Abia North of Abia Senatorial District. Mr. President and my colleagues, I think first I want to thank President Ahmed Bola Tinubu for appointing somebody I will consider, my opinion, personal opinion, as a very competent man. Myself and Chairman Ahmed Lawan, Committee on Defense, will work with him. We'll be working with him since 10th CDS. And there is nothing good like if we are appointing people, you appoint competent people. I don't even know questions senators are asking him, because this man is competent. He was CDS. He's a very competent general. He's a full 4-star general. So if there's anything you give in Nigerian army, he has it. But my advice, I don't want to ask him question. My own is advice. Don't believe on only gun. You must go back to intelligence gathering. Intelligence gathering is the key to whatever you are going to do. Because we have no intelligence. When people do not have intelligence gathering, they carry weapon and go, the enemy is in front. There's no Reiki. I don't see soldiers and Navy, Air Force going for Reiki. Both air Reiki or ground Reiki. They don't do that. And when you go there, they have laid ambush. We will lose our soldiers. As a Minister of Defense, how will you address the issue? The issue of wiping out courses. I want to advise Mr. President, you wipe out a course totally. Like if you are course 38, if you are appointed, yes, every other person in course 38 will retire. We have used money to train you people. And it's Nigerian people's money. So how you are going to wish you the best of luck as the President moves to clear you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And the chairman of finance, a lot of things are said that you can't achieve much except the appropriation does. Chairman of finance, distinguished Senator, ranking Senator Sani Musa.
Mohammed Sani Musa, representing Niger East.
Niger.
I'm representing a senatorial district that have been so inflicted with this issue of insecurity. But first, I will also join my colleagues in congratulating Mr. President at this most very difficult time in the history of this country to be able to make this decisive decision in appointing the immediate past Chief of Defense Staff as getting very well with the Ministry of Finance. That being said, I want to also commend Mr. President for making this choice. We have a lot of young officers that have been retired. Most of these young officers that are retired are not even prepared for their retirement. And at a time that a country is facing so much of security challenges, most of them are not businessmen, most of them are not politicians, are gentlemen, are military officers. They have been trained. They have gone to many countries, trained in warfare and everything. There is no better time that we need them like now. As Minister of Defense, can you propose to Mr. President the need to have a army? Have we reached a stage that we can now start thinking of bringing a unit like the National Guards or veterans, a corps of veterans, so that when we are faced with things like this, it's not just abruptly employing new recruits, but making use of those that have been trained already. There's also some issue of motivation. It's not only about allowances into pockets. There are so many other motivating factors that you can create to enhance the agility of the armed forces. And then Nigerian youths too. A lot of people today, seeing what is happening on the social media, especially when you see a soldier going on social media, making any sort of presentation, it discourages a lot of youths in wanting to go into the service. Mr. President was suggesting about NYSC. One of the core factors of establishing this scheme is also to be able to get as Minister of Defense, will you try as much as possible to see that these three issues I bring up, you come up with something that will be able to at least give the Nigerian Armed Forces the leverage to make use of this, the youths, the veterans, and possibly creating a kind of national guard. Thank you, Mr. President.
Now, you notice your answers are very relevant to today's situation and the future. So try and smile. Distinguished Senator Olamileko.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleague. Mr. President, sitting as chair, let me join my colleague and the entire Nigerians in thanking Mr. President for bringing back General Musa Christopher. Mr. President, I'm one of the very few Nigerians that was disturbed when I learned that General Musa Christopher was retired. But in a way, because of his good deed while he was in office, I know that definitely along the line, the president will give him another assignment. I never believed or thought it would be nominated as the minister. But immediately his name was announced as the new Minister of Defense designate. It comes with a lot of applause and good commendation from Nigerians for one singular reason, because Nigeria feels it's a round peg in a round hole. And as such, a welcome development. Sir, I want to say this. When you came on board in 23 May 2029, when the president assumed office, and you swing into action, there is a lot of reduction in all these incidents that we have, kidnapping, banditry, and everything. That in 2024, the report is there and it's clear that we have the lowest number of kidnapping and banditry in the country. Not until recently again, when you are about exiting office, that we have this sporadic rise in banditry, kidnapping, and terrorism across board. Nigeria would like to know what brings about this sudden rise again in banditry, kidnapping, and this terrorism act across the divide. Today, you are the nominee of Mr. President as the incoming Minister of Defense. Nigeria will equally wants to know what are the strategy, even though without full disclosure, that you will put in place to bring back the good old days while serving as the Chief of Defense Staff of this country. I so submit, Mr. President.
Thank you. This is Senator Oshimole.
God bless the president. Sir, I joined in commending the nominee, and I was very inspired by your opening statement. But the last word you used, I was a bit confused. When you said, we can win this war, I thought that is begging the question. What we expect from you is assurance. We will win this war. We shall win this war. Not can. Can is about potential. We have talked too much about potentials. Under your leadership, Nigeria will win this war. under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we shall win this war. That's the kind of assurance we want. That's it. There have been a couple of observations that people have raised. When young men and women are kidnapped, state governors and other stakeholders are panicking, people are responding differently. For example, we have seen reports of armed terrorists coming out of the bush and negotiating with a subnational government. And people are like, how can we negotiate? And on the floor of this Senate, many distinguished senators remind us that people know where these terrorists are. They know their roots. And in any case, if they didn't know them, how do they negotiate with them? Because once the armed forces demystify, there is no state. It is the power of the state. It possesses the monopoly to use instruments of violence to liquidate anyone who threatens the existence of the state. So for many people, they can't understand why the state or anybody purporting to represent the state will negotiate with bandits. They come to the city and after negotiations, they go back. There are other stories that one cannot verify about people wearing uniforms or people they have killed and so on and so forth. Like has been said, I don't think any one of us here has any iota of doubt. If anything, I have been congratulating many people who come to me that yes, for several reasons, your appointment is a bold statement, even to enemy of Nigeria.
triggers the issues to the subject matter, screening of the nominee, not your discussion with another. So I'm telling you right now that even today, even if it's immigration, they oversubscribe. If the army oversubscribe, how can we be talking like this?
That you don't run short of people that will help you do this work. I know you are going to be Minister for Defense, no longer Chief of Defense Staff. But all of us here, whenever we see an officer killed in the field, it pains us as much as it pains you. The problem is that there is need to protect our officers. What happens when we see people killed in the battlefield are just like the match, football match. Whenever Nigeria loses an international match, everybody is low. So I want to say that I'm happy that you are back, and I pray that God will help you. And without saboteurs in the armed forces, there are saboteurs in the armed forces that have been responsible for the things we are seeing that are very unsavory. Look deep and see how not everybody carrying arm is a patriotic military officer. So that those who are against this country are weeded out, and those who are strong enough in patriotism are pushed forward. This is what I have to tell you. May God be with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. In reality, we are through with the questions. Is there anybody who is opposed to the nominee, being cleared? Senator Plank.
Different, sir.
Unless it is different.
Yes, very different, sir.
If he talks, I talk.
I don't want. We have had enough commendations.
Okay, sir. Okay, President of the Senate, my colleagues, I subscribe to all the praises made to him. I just wanted him to make an observation that the uniqueness of his appointment, he should be encouraged to find a space and pray, because the type of ovation he's receiving with this appointment is unprecedented. I represent Pangshin, Mangu, Kanke, and Kanam, and it's a domain he knows very well. With his appointment yesterday, drums were rolling. A clergy, both Islam and Muslims in my state, are happy with his appointment. Expectations on you are very, very high. Sir, with my stay in this Senate for the past two years, I've never seen where the Senates are on the same line on appointment like your own. From the DSP to the Senate President to the Senate President former, and all of us, independent of constituency, independent of religion, and our elders, on you, needs you to go on a prayer. Sir, the last question I wanted to tell you about my own place is, there is a tiny defeat. Even when there is peace, there is a tiny defeat when people can no longer go to their farmland. Yet nobody is occupying the farm. But for anybody who goes, does not come back home. And people who cannot go back to their homes, what effort? I wish you can't answer that. But can you look at that sector? Because when people cannot go to their farm, it's like a defeat. But if people can get back to their farms, it's like it is over. I pray that you observe that. Sir, we're highly pleased. And we'll join you in prayers. Because your success is our success. What the president have done
we feel he has touched us at the right place. So may God Almighty grant you success. Thank you.
Tumba Benga Daniels, distinguished senator.
Thank you, our president. I'm Senator Benga Daniel, representing Ogo East, and I'm the chairman of the Senate Committee for the Navy. I won't spend more than 1 minute, just 3 quick questions. The first one is on the definition of terrorism and banditry. I'm aware that the armed forces have been armed strong in recent times because they have not been able to deploy fully, because there are arguments about whether we are dealing with terrorism or banditry. And I'm sure if we all agree there is just a thin line between the two and allow the armed forces to deal with terrorism, we'll get better results. My second question is very simple as well. Now that we are debating on the propriety of having community-based police, state police, etc., I want to know the position of the incoming minister, what he thinks about community policing and state police. And finally, it's just a short advice that the country having waited for so long, I will advise him to set for himself a 100-day action plan so that in 100 days, you can come back here and say the battle has been won. Once again, congratulations in advance.
Lalong.
Thank you, Mr. President. My distinguished colleagues, Simon Lalong, representing the good people of Plateau South. Mr. President, while others were saying they work with Janar Musa, or they know him. For me, I live with Janar Musa. Before retirement and out of retirement. It's interesting, Mr. President, that is from Jos. And he was met. He lives in Jos. And he was, don't forget about being born in Sokoto. That he was met the Chief of Defense Staff. When he retired as Chief of Defense Staff, he was in Jos. Very lucky at a prayer. 2 days after, he was recalled from Jos as the Minister of Defense. So I know him as a fine army officer, and I know him as a fine civilian. As a fine civilian, because he's a great golfer, and we play a lot of golf with him. When you see him in the armed forces, it's wonderful. But as a civilian on the golf course, he looks as a civilian. That will take me to one portion, because shortly before he left the army, I followed keenly. He gave an order, and I think that order was in Jos. That order was one of the orders that I believe was very, very firm and was leading to commitment. Because usually in the army, they will tell you that the army is not police. If they are carrying operation, they are restricted. But for the first time in my life, I will say, he said, look, engage them. When you engage them, they engage you, fire back. He said, where you see this, go back, go on them. That was the only thing that we wanted to hear in Nigeria. Unfortunately, after that, he was retired. And shortly after the retirement, by the glory of God, today he's back again as Chief of Defense Staff. So only 2 questions. My general, are you really going to keep to that? Those words you made
very, very paramount and important. Everybody was expecting now. Not a soldier engaging a criminal and saying, no, you are restricted. Fire. Number two is this issue of recruitment. We've spoken about engaging people. For me, when you engage, you will have to train. When you train, it will take a long time. So
Now, let me finish the statement. Now, the basic question, I hope you would know the difference between your office now as a minister and your previous office as the defense chief of defense staff.
If he doesn't know, you can go and teach him.
Secondly, that his job should be such that he works in very close synergy with all these
Are you the president?
chiefs,
Are you the person who
all
appointed
these
him?
chief of
The
army
person who
staff,
appointed him will
this and
advise
that.
him.
In the sense that if there is no harmony between them, there is bound to be
must confine his observation to the subject under discussion and may not introduce matter irrelevant thereto. Professor Annie, you are asked to ask questions, not to give lecture, as whether he knows the difference between his office, the new office is going to occupy his former office. No, not lecture. Ask him question, right? And so submit.
The question is, that brings me to...
Point of order is sustained. Senator Annie, that is why it's not good to speak for the sake of...
Thank you, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues. I am Abdulaziz Musa Radua, representing Katsina.
This is your campaign voice.
Representing the good people of Katsina Central. Thank you, Mr. President, and my distinguished colleagues. I want to join my colleagues in thanking Mr. President for this nomination. And mine is not to waste time. It's just to thank my colleagues for all they have said and the encomiums, they have showered on the nominee, whom everybody knows has done well as the Chief of Defense Staff.
Okay, so I you can take them to your office.
responsibility, and then the ministry. Observing what is being done, following up so that we can make sure that the work, the synergy is seamless. There seem to be still some areas that is meditating against our work. Actually, those are issues we're going to come. I think what we'll do again, sir, is taking over. I'm going to sit down with all stakeholders. That's what we did in Maiduguri that gave us the success we did. We must make everybody understand the roles they have to play. And in doing that, once we do that and everybody's on board, it makes it a lot easier. So to say in Maiduguri, we had meetings with motor park, markets, commercial drivers, everybody. And when they came on board, that's when we had success. And that's why we need to really replicate, going down to make sure that everybody has a responsibility. It is not when you see something, you keep quiet saying it is not your responsibility. No. The armed forces, security forces are not going to be everywhere. So it's important that we also work together. So Senator Anye will assure you that we're going to work closely with the service chiefs. There won't be any issues together, and including other security agencies. On the issue of the reabsorbment of the surrendees, that is not happening. We have a system that we monitor who and who we're recruiting into service. We work together with the intelligence system, the military intelligence, the DSS and all. They still go back to check all those ones we're recruiting based on the data they're bringing. But sir, I think I must mention this, which I've done severally. There are countries, if we look at first world countries, why are they succeeding? They've been able to put some basic things in place. Something as simple as a database for all citizens. I think that's one area that we need to be, so that we can also assist the security forces, and even developmentally, we need to know the number of people in particular areas so that we can know whether we have markets or schools or hospitals in those areas. I think it's important that we must have a comprehensive database, and not the database that immigration will be having, quarantine will be having, police is having something. No, we need a unified one that will be able to carry, so that when you commit a crime, it's easier to track you, it's easier to trace. That aspect that people can easily commit one crime in Sokoto and run to Maiduguri and go and stay, or run to Kano or somewhere and nobody knows them, makes it a lot easier for them. There are countries where you commit one offense, even your bank account is closed. Your ATM cannot work. Now with ICT, we can do a lot. So I think it's important at this stage for us to start looking at how we can link up all those data together to have a unified one that will assist us in doing this. The kinetic and non-kinetic, like is mentioned rightly, that the kinetic effort is about 25–30%. It cannot win totally. It will give you the leverage. But sir, are we addressing those aspects that got us to where we are? Issues of good governance, poverty, illiteracy, all these aspects contribute to it. And that's why we said that the states need to do a lot. Local governments need to work. Sir, if our local governments are up and doing, the local government chairman will be dealing with the crime within their localities. And it will ease up these aspects. We need to have the police. We need to have the correctional system, and especially our legal system. So if the legal system is not proactive, and most of these crimes, especially terrorism, so in Saudi Arabia and Middle East countries, anything on terrorism, nobody jokes with it. Even your family members will disown you, because they've made it in such a way that nobody is set free once you are charged on aspects of terrorism. So I think we need to also make it very, very punitive. The kidnapping issues, the way it's been treated in courts, you get somebody and cases are prolonged, doesn't make it well. So even the security forces, when you travel and you do all the efforts in making arrests and nothing comes out of it. So those are the aspects I think that we need to do. The non-kinetic is very important, sir, because if we're able to understand that when there's justice, fairness, and equity within the people, and they have a sense of belonging, you will see crime and criminality will go down. Why are we having the resurgence of criminality? We know towards the end of every year, there is always this upsurge. People want to make extra money in whatever it is they're doing. The Sahel is there. The world terrorism agent is increasing in its attacks all over the world. So it's not only Nigeria, because we are not isolated. And that's why we're having this pressure. What we need to do, sir, is working together as a team in addressing, making sure that we address them within Nigeria, and do not give them any freeway, any aspects that they need to do. We must stop ransom payments. And in doing that, sir, even when ransoms are being paid, some other, because people want to do that, we can track the money is being paid and where does the money come from. There is a lot you can do using the banking system, that we can do these things and track those things backwards. The use of technology is very important. And like I said, sir, if we're able to have a database and every Nigerian has a number linked Everything you have electronic, we can monitor anything. I think that's areas that we need to look at and be able to address. Again, the issue of the maritime environment, very, very challenging environment that is there, again, linking with the border, especially Akwa Ibom to Cameroon and those other areas. We know there's a large increase. Normally, when the pressure is on in the south-south, you go back into issues of sea robbery and piracy and these issues on ground. Again, issues of cultism and all these things. Now, we make sure that our operations within those areas are enhanced using the Operation Delta Safe, expanding their reach. Initially, because those areas were a bit quiet, they didn't extend them. But now what we have done even before I left is was extended operations within those areas to be able to address those maritime environments, to make sure that we stop these acts, because there's issues of kidnapping coming from those areas. Collaboration is critical. No one individual can do this together. We must work. So it says no to negotiation. There is no negotiation of any criminal. And I think that should be made very, very clear. We are working together. States don't adopt such things because those things compromise security. And to tell those that nobody, if you negotiate with them, they will never abide by it. They will. It's just a moment. When they do that, they want to buy time to buy more arms, and then they were going to come. And we have seen it repeatedly. There are even localities that have done that. They still come after them. So, sir, it's a total ban on that, total ban on illegal mining, and all those other aspects that are bringing these things together. So I think we must be able to do that. Indiscipline in the military, sir, Senator Ipaya, we can assure you that we're going to address them totally. We're going to have independent patrol teams that will go and make sure that we do and do it. And what we want to do again is to withdraw possibly all military men out of checkpoints and let the police and civil defense handle those aspects. Hungry man is an angry man. And so if people can't eat, you can imagine what will happen. So for us, I think protecting the farm, working with the civil defense that have the agro farmers, agro rangers is very important for us to continue to work together. Senator Lalong, thank you very much, sir. We really appreciate you for the commendation, and we assure you that we're going to be very firm in all we are doing. And everywhere we make sure that recruitments are going to be thorough. And again, it brings you back to a database. So it makes it easier. Somebody comes for recruitment and has a number that you can check and see everything is telling you. It makes it a lot easier. We've seen countries having this for years. So I think it's high time we're able to do that. A lot of people now, because there is war, even the military, you find some people don't want to go to where there's conflict. They want to go to soft areas. It's normal for humans. But we always want to tell that anybody being recruited should know that you are joining the armed forces because you are going to fight. There's war going on and you will go and fight. So going in to say that you want to avoid that, that's why some people don't want to come in. Because they feel if they come in, they say they will take them to Maiduguri and all this thing. Basically, that is what you are meant to do. But again, we know some states, we have observed some states, some regions don't really come in well for reasons, but I think we are doing some sensitization program to try and bring them into it so that the strength can be enhanced. But like Mr. President, you mentioned, sir, as we speak, sometimes every time we are doing recruitment, we have over 70,000 that are applying to join. So we still have enough. But maybe some states do not have that number. But again, we have a way of balancing because we want every Nigerian to be part of it, every Nigerian to take responsibility of what is going on ground. So we're following all those aspects and we don't want them to go down. But on expectations, so I can tell you, I'm also feeling the heat because when I see the expectations, when my name was mentioned, I know that I cannot afford to fail myself, fail my nation, fail my family. Whatever that we need to do, we will put in the very best, and we know God on our side, we're going to succeed. It's important, sir, that we must continue to work together. And I assure Nigerians, I really appreciate the responses to the Senate, National Assembly as a whole, the entire Nigerians. Like I went to social media, I was shocked when I saw the response. And it shows that people are really committed in showing that Nigeria is peaceful. So when people go around saying Nigerians, we don't love ourselves, I say, no, they don't really know who Nigerians are. And it also brings me to the issue that we have on the issue of whether genocide or no genocide. We're all victims. Everybody is being killed. Everybody is dying. So that's why it's important that we must work together. And it is when we allow them have gaps that they penetrate. They don't care who they kill. a bunch of evil people that are on drugs. For whatever reason, we must stop the killings. Nigerians must not be killed, or anyone in Nigeria must not be killed for whatever reason. So, sir, our own target is to face them squarely and ensure that we stop the killing. Farmers should go, our children should be safe in their schools, and Nigeria is back to how it used to be before. I think that's very, very important. On the issue of whether 100 days or 6 months, I think it's important that we must make sure that within a very limited time, people should see that things are changing. We're able to achieve that, and we can still do that, and we will do that. All we need is the support. So I want to seek your indulgence, sir, that once I take over after 3 weeks, we'll be able to come back, maybe have a closed session, because there are a lot of things that we need to bring to the fore that will assist the members of armed forces and other security agencies. We cannot say it out in the open. There are a lot of gaps that we need to close in. And I think that's very important if we're able to sit down. I'll sit down with all of them, we'll discuss, and then we'll come back again and sit down and show clearly the roadmap. What is it that is in? What do we need? What kind of support do we need for us to be able to achieve? I think that's very, very important, sir. On issue of saboteurs, yes, sir. Normally we recruit from the society. So there will always be the good, the bad, and the ugly. But we have a system of identifying such people, and immediately we do that, we take action because we prosecute. The armed forces have standby court martials all over the country. Anywhere you commit, there are offense and there are punishments for it. And I think that is what we are going to do. On sustaining the strength, yes, we're doing that. The system we're adopting is good, and we're going to do that. Engagement of retired personnel is a good idea. We're going to discuss with the services and see. On retirement, you still have 3 years into the reserve. So we can still re-engage those ones that are retired into reserve, those ones that are still fit and capable. Most of us here that are here have spent over 30 years in service, or almost 40 years, because if you look at those that went to NDA, spent 5 years and then 30-something years. There are some that were at NMS, spent 5 years, 6 years NMS, 5 years NDA, and 30-something years. So they put in a longer years, a lot of experience. And I think my advice for to the nation is that beside even the military, even in other aspects of life, these are individuals that monies have been spent on them, time has been spent, they have a lot of experience, they're very brilliant, committed in ensuring that Nigeria develops. So we can also look at other aspects of putting them in some of these boards that we have. Let us utilize them. A lot of them finish, go back and just sit down and not doing anything. And I think that's not good. Having considered the amount of money that had been spent and the experiences they have, I think we should look at the aspect of also bringing them into all some of these boards, and they will be able to bring out some inputs into bringing this into the system. Declaring, sorry, sir, let me get this. I said issue on negotiation, no negotiation. Nobody's allowed to negotiate. For the troops, sir, every personnel that is deployed knows why he's deployed. And the 3 things where he's told is this: you are to engage any criminal or any bandit that is armed and is about to kill you. You don't have to wait. Somebody is aiming to shoot at you and you are waiting for order from who? Once you are deployed, you automatically have that responsibility. Or your colleague is to be shot and you know there is no other way of stopping it other if you don't kill the person. Or the community or protecting. These are statutory and they all know it. So if any member of the armed forces is deployed anywhere and tells you that he's waiting for order, he's lying. He's only a coward. There is nothing like he's waiting for any order. The order is automatic once he's deployed because he's briefed before he's deployed. And I think that is very important that we're able to bring that distance. Like I said, the increase in terrorism and banditry, end of the year, the times, over time, people have neglected so many things, and these are the things these are the results. So we must go back to those basics that will do that, working together with the communities, with the local governments, with the state governments, and the federal. Together, if we do that, we're going to look at and we're going to get good results. Whether National Guard or Reserve, then NYC using them. The issue of social media, sir, that's one big area we're having, is affecting the professionalism of the armed forces. And I think areas that we need to look at how we're going to address those things very well is very, very important. Funding issues, like it was mentioned, no country can have everything. So America's budget last year was about $800 and something billion, and they produce the equipment. We don't produce this equipment. For everything we are buying, we buy using hard currency. A medium-range precision missile for a drone, sir, is $100,000. That is about 150 million naira. So once you fire one, 150 million has gone. Whether you hit target or you don't hit target. A ship, a medium-range ship will take up to probably 33,000 liters of fuel, 10 tankers. In 5-6 hours, fuel is finished. So you can imagine that defense is expensive. And that's why it's important for us to see that we can fund. And we can do government to government. Some of these things, we can get them directly. So I think that those are issues that I think we need to look at. We said 20% non-kinetic will do. The intelligence, yes, intelligence is critical. And that's why we need everybody to be on board. Because when you see something and you report, action is taken. And we're able to get good results. As again, and the Senate especially, that's how we're fully committed. Coming back on stream from all the experience we have, working together with my team, we are going to make sure that we make a difference. I can show you within the shortest possible time, sir, Nigerians will see that change. The trust they have in us will never let them down. And we'll count on the House. Thank you very much, sir.
Let me thank the nominee, Janar Christopher Musa, CFR. I don't know the rest, whether is it which PSC Daga. Because no, PSC Daga. Am I right? PSC Daga. Yes. I am GCON Daga. Let me say that today's exercise has been a very serious one. And I want to thank the distinguished senators. There is a meeting of North Central going on. There's also a meeting of Northeast going on. There's also a meeting of Southwest going on. There's also a meeting of the committee led by Senator Bello on foreign affairs screening the presidential nominees for ambassador appointment. These were things that were prefixed, General, before you came. But in spite of how crowded today was, we felt there was need to take you so you can go and join your colleagues to begin to map up the right policies to keep Nigeria safer. And you have observed that there's a lot of expectation of all Nigerians across board, including Mr. President, who nominated you, because of your personnel and your record. And I've not seen any nominee in the Nigerian Senate spend so many hours answering questions from senators since 1999. I think you are the first, so you have set the record. I have some senators here who insist that when they take the floor to speak, I should not stop them. That's why in the United States, some senators speak for 24 hours. So in your own case, I decided to make sure that everybody had an opportunity to ask you a question because we are all concerned about the security of the nation. The good part of it, but he answered your question. He answered, he mentioned you specifically, he said Senator Ani, and he answered the question. You didn't finish everything you wanted to say, but at least you said a few things and we picked those few things. So Senator Ani, if you have any other thing, please put it in writing, give him as he's leaving. He will address them. So I want to thank all my colleagues for their contributions. To assure you also that there is what we call verbatim reporting. The moment this microphone is pressed, everything you say, even when you sneeze, is recorded. So we have everything record. including those who contributed and left, and those came back to contribute, including every single thing you said. In fact, let me even tell you, we are even recording the things you are thinking in your mind now. that is how digital we are. So we are up to in our offices. We'll review everything you have said here today and what you intend to do. But let me cap it up by mentioning that you said there is a constitutional lacuna. This is for the Senate, that the responsibilities of each office within the security architecture of the country must be looked into again. That's what you said, that there will be no ambiguity. And in order to ensure that there is a single office that acts as an impediment to success, we noted that very, very seriously. You have an opportunity to amplify that when we handle the National Security Summit. So we'll be requesting a small paper from you on what the National Assembly should do in order to bridge the gap and ensure that those lacunas are constitutionally addressed through this constitutional amendment that we are presently undertaking. So, and yeah, I know the acts also. I'm sure that's to let you know that we notice that we're listening to you very keenly. And that, of course, also answered the question as to who gave the order for soldiers to withdraw before the kidnappers entered the school. It's a function of whose responsibility was it to give order to those soldiers because of the various formations. You have too many, yes, you have too many areas. Then you also mentioned something about a database. The need for us to have a data where once your name is put into the data, everything about you comes out. Your age, your date of birth, your experience, and everything. So it will be easy for us to know. It will even have up to even your habits, whether you're a golfer, whether you're a footballer, whether you're a smoker, everything should come out. And then that will enable you to know whether such a person is fit for the responsibility you want to give the person. Your health status should also will also be reflected in that database. Then we want to urge you, as soon as you take over, visit the defense industries. We would like a situation whereby we don't import everything, including bullets. Nigeria should at least be able to make bullets if we cannot make intercontinental ballistic missiles. And we have noted the aspect of the fact that once you fire one single rocket or so, you are burnt 150 million. So by the time you go into salvos and firing well over 20, 30, 50, you are burning billions, and we may not have all those monies. So you are working on difficult circumstances because of paucity of funds. But we'll do our best to ensure that we support you. Senator Lalong, the meeting of North Central is not here. So Senator Odende can follow you and you go there so that you can continue. Let the Senate finish what we are doing. And then we also notice what you said about the judiciary. We have the prolonged trials of suspects, that there will be need for the Senate, for the National Assembly to look at how we can shorten the period of trials. And then, of course, one thing that is most impressive is the fact that you are against negotiation with terrorists. This Senate is against negotiation with terrorists. And we're even against the idea of paying ransom to terrorists because they use the same money to go and buy more arms and then wait a while and come back again. It has never worked. Even when I was a state governor, I never negotiated with terrorists. I made my state so hot that each time we arrested a kidnapper, he would say, please, sir, forgive me, I did not know it was part of your state. When they said there was a job, I know how angry you are with kidnapping. That was how bad it was. Late Arase, former IG, was once one of the commissioners of police in my state when I was a governor. He can testify to this. So we can make Nigeria so hot that anybody that crosses in from the Sahel states, maybe Mali, Niger, anywhere, when the person is arrested, the person will be pleading with you. Say, Minister of Defense, please forgive me. I don't know that that part was part of Nigeria because of the policies we have put in place. We also need the cooperation of all Nigerians. Finally, I want to thank you once again for that non-negotiation policy. Please also advise the Commander-in-Chief, because most of the people you are negotiating with are laden with drugs. They are soaked with drugs. They don't go for operation. To arrest kidnappers and then keep them and feed them at government expense and release them and give them uniform and give them allowances and say that we have changed them. So as a Minister of Defense, please advise the Commander-in-Chief and make sure you are not afraid of advice. They said the soldiers don't talk. You are no longer in uniform. You are now part of us. You'll be wearing agbada. So advise the Commander-in-Chief. And then he's a man who has said that he doesn't mind if he makes mistake and you point it out, he will correct himself because he's not an angel, he's not God. So some people are a bit on the sycophantic side. So long as we continue to play politics with security, we'll continue to get the result we are getting. So bringing you in is that you have to be firm, you have to be resolute, and you have to remain committed as ever. And you've always been very patriotic. Please put the interests of the Nigerian citizens uppermost in your mind. And the rest will be added onto you. We will pray for you. We wish you well. Is it the view of the Senate that this nominee be allowed to take a bow and leave? Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. We now take a bow. Chief Whip, please call Senator Plank and the rest of them to return to their seat. Senator Oshumole, all of them.
The Chief Senator Plank, return to your seat. Huh? This Oh, he's also there.
All right. The confirmation screening has just been concluded, and the ministerial nominee, Janar Christopher Musa, is here with us. So, sir, congratulations as we await the decision of the Senate on the confirmation hearing.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Now, it's been like 4 or 5 hours of marathon screening.
Yeah.
Tell us your feelings and what comments you have for Nigerians at this point in time.
Firstly, let me just thank Mr. President for this opportunity for me to be presented today. Also appreciate the National Assembly for the good job they are doing, members of the armed forces, but most especially Nigerians. Nigerians have shown faith in our capacity to achieve success. I want to assure them that whatever it takes for us to do that, we are going to work round the clock to ensure Nigeria is safe and secure. We need them to also support the security forces because nobody can do it alone. Every Nigerian should take this as a responsibility towards him that it is his own task to, whatever support he can give to the armed forces and security forces, he should not hesitate. You see something wrong, report, action will be taken. I'm very glad this went through, and it shows you all this time that everybody is committed. Everybody wants peace in Nigeria. And that's what the senators have shown. And all the questions they've asked were on point, and we'll reassure them that we're going to work and ensure Nigeria is safe and secure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Congratulations once again.
Much.
All right. Where we come to the end of today's live telecast of the ministerial screening inside the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Now, on behalf of all those that made today's exercise a success, I am Lami Ali, thanking you for your time and asking you to stay tuned as we continue.